Today I'm going to be taking you guys to an ancient Aztec ruin that was just recently discovered. In the year 1978, some electrical workers working in Mexico City were digging into the ground where they discovered a stone, the Coyolxauhqui Stone. By the end of this video, you'll know all about the story displayed on the stone carving, as well as how its discovery led to the finding of an ancient Aztec city, Tenochtitlan, where the Templo Mayor, the main Aztec structure, was constructed. And all of this lays hidden underneath Mexico City today. So cool. Before I dive in, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get notified of more cool art history videos that I publish each week. Okay, so first I'm going to briefly cover who the Aztecs are. I'm going to talk about the origin story of their city Tenochtitlan, where their main temple was found, Templo Mayor. And then we'll dive in deeper into an analysis and description of the Coyolxauhqui Stone, the stone that led to the discovery of all of this. So who are the Aztecs and what is the city of Tenochtitlan? Well, the Aztecs were the main empire that came after the Mayans. They ruled around 1345 to 1520 when the Spaniards came in and conquered them. And by conquer, I mean like literally almost wiped them out through disease and murder and plundering and all that fun stuff. Tenochtitlan was the Aztecs' capital city, and its origin story is incredible. Something that's so steeped in Mexico history that it actually is inscribed in an image on their flag. So the story of Tenochtitlan goes like this. The patron god of Mexico, or the Aztecs, was Huitzilopochtl, and he had this vision one day of where he was to build his main city. The vision was he was going to walk until he found an eagle land on a cactus, grasping a snake in its claws. So he and his followers walked and walked until they found this sign. Unfortunately, it was in the middle of the Lake Texcoco, but they decided this is where their empire needed to be made. So Tenochtitlan was a city built on top of a lake, which is kind of fitting because Mexico City was built on top of Tenochtitlan, which was built on top of a lake. History. The main thing people want to know about the Aztecs is, did they do human sacrifice? And the answer is yes. Yes, they did. But what seems barbaric and kind of terrible to us was actually a high honor for the Aztec people. It was a way to worship and honor their gods. And that was something that they cherished. So where this stuff took place was in Templo Mayor, the main Aztec structure in Tenochtitlan. This is an interesting structure. In fact, when they've excavated this piece, they notice there are 7 different layers of buildings, meaning each ruler that came about would build on top of the previous temple to show their power and their connection to the gods. So as you look at this piece, you'll notice there are 2 main structures at the top, and these are 2 different temples, but together they make Templo Mayor. On the left side, the one that has some blue color to it, is the temple that's dedicated to the deity TlaloC, who is the god of water, rain, agriculture, fertility, that kind of stuff. And it is believed that this temple is made to represent a mountain called the Mountain of Sustenance, which is a mountain that provides rain and water to help crops grow. So on the left side, they're definitely worshiping something that brings about their life, food, water. It's this life-giving structure. On the right side, the one that's painted red, is dedicated to the deity Huitzilopochtl, who is the patron deity of the Mexica, or that's what the Aztecs referred to themselves. This Huitzilopochtl is the god of warfare and blood and power and fire and sun and all of those things. And this structure is meant to represent Mount Coatepec, which is where the story of Coyolxauhqui comes in. But one more thing before we get there. These 2 temples combined together represent this idea called burnt water, which sounds kind of weird and almost impossible. But the idea is of the coming of these 2 together represent warfare, and this is how the Aztecs rose to power. They were war people. So these 2 ideas of water and fire coming together are just one great big symbol of the Aztec people. We finally arrived. Here's the story of the Coyolxauhqui Stone. Now remember, this is the stone that led to the discovery of Templo Mayor, that led to the discovery of Tenochtitlan. So this is a really important stone, and the story gets a little crazy. Coyolxauhqui, which actually means bells her face, meaning she has bells on her face, has a mom. Her mom's name is Coyolxauhqui, which means snakes her skirt. Now one day her mom gets impregnated by a feather that enters up her skirt. And Coyolxauhqui thinks this is a very dishonorable thing and gets pretty mad at her mom for getting impregnated this way. So she gathers up her 400 brothers and they decide that they're going to attack Mommy Dearest. So they find her on top of Mount Coatepec, which is Snake Mountain, and they confront her. And as they are about to attack her, the young infant that is in her belly rips out, fully clothed and armed, and defeats them. Now this boy, this full-grown child actually, is Huitzilopochtl, which means turquoise prince. So he emerges from his mother and defends her honor, or defends her. Now he does this in a very specific way. He chops off Coyolxauhqui's head and rolls her body down Snake Mountain. And it's a tremendous journey her body goes on, because she becomes dismembered in the process. Arms, legs, torso, flying everywhere. There is one origin story that says her head gets thrown up into the sky and becomes the moon. Think what you may of that. And her body lays to rest at the bottom of the mountain. Now, think about the placement of this stone. It lies at the very base of the staircase of Huitzilopochtli's temple in Templo Mayor. The human sacrifice that the Aztecs did took place at the top of that staircase. Now, when the Aztecs would take out the beating heart, they would roll the body of the human sacrifice down the staircase, Coyolxauhqui style, and their body would lay to rest on top of the Coyolxauhqui Stone. That's amazing. Let's analyze this piece a little bit further. So looking at this stone on a screen makes it seem really small, but in actuality, this is 11 feet in diameter. This stone is massive, a monolith to be exact. It's done in the low relief style, and it would have been painted, brightly painted, so that you would have been able to determine different features of Coyolxauhqui. So bells on her face, bells her face is her name. If you look closely, you can see golden bells would have decorated her cheeks. She also has feathers in her hair. She's decorated with earrings. She has sandals and bracelets and this serpent belt with a skull. Again, we're connecting to this idea of Snake Mountain, which is Mount Coatepec. And we're connecting to this idea of sacrifice and death and skulls. So you see all of this. But she also has earrings, bracelets, sandals, signs of wealth, signs of deity, right? Now you can see her torso in the center there, and then her head is kind of detached off to the side and the top. And then each of her limbs are kind of pinwheel shaped around, and bones stick out from the limbs. They kind of have monster-like faces on those joints. They connect her to female deities, and they're also associated with trouble and chaos. So there's that. She's also naked. Now there's two different interpretations of what this could represent. She has sagging breasts and a very stretched belly, which could be indicative of motherhood, but also nakedness could be a form of humiliation and defeat, which you could interpret both of these into the piece. The Coyolxauhqui Stone is important first because it led to that Aztec city, Tenochtitlan, which is a huge discovery that is still being excavated today. But second, this stone, like other ancient art forms, really connect to the story of humanity. What does it mean to be a human? It helps us understand that a little bit more. If you haven't seen my video on lintels 24 and 25 from the Mayan city of Tenochtitlan, you should check it out. These are some other awesome, amazing, incredible Mesoamerican art pieces that help us give insight to who we are. If you found this video helpful, make sure you like it and comment below. I'd love to answer any questions you have or just talk to you about the art. And remember Please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon to get notified of new art history videos I publish every week on Thursday. And please stay tuned because the art just keeps getting better.